Studies, Professor Martin Hedgepeth, who is overseas and regrets not to be with us today, but he wishes us and all of you a fruitful, forum. So we will start this session with Mrs. Anastasia Schiavo-Holler, EMD author, Positivity in Our Personal and Political Arena. And Dr. Anastasia Schiavo-Holler is born in Greece. She studied in Bucharest, Romania, and obtained a degree in general medicine and dentistry. She also received a national certificate from the American Association of Dentistry. Anastasia has worked as an instructor at several universities and colleges, learned over 9 languages, and worked also as a translator. She is the author of the book Challenging the Unseen, Inspirational and Spiritual on Positive Visualization, which will become soon a movie for the big screen. She resides permanently in Tucson, Arizona. Welcome, Anastasia. Thank you, thank you. I wrote a book on positive visualization, positive thinking, and materialization of our wishes in our personal lives. I believe that this is a topic that it is very interesting these days, and as Mrs. Rapti said very, very well, um, it is going to be a movie. I saw a lot of interest also from the movie industry on positiveness. While my vacation in Greece this summer, my brother's youngest daughter, she asked me to meet her best friends, Christons and Theodorus. She knew them for 8 years, and she asked me to get to know them a little bit because she thought that I should, that I was exactly like them, they were exactly like me. I didn't know what that all meant. She said to me that Christos and Theodoros, they were very positive people. And since I have written a book in positivity, that I should have met her best friends. And this is how everything has happened. I met her friends, and I was taken from their passion for helping the Greek youth. And this is one of the reasons why I'm here today. I reside in Tucson, Arizona, and I traveled from far away. And actually, immediately after my Greek vacation as well, I thought my husband is not going to let me come to this trip. But he was very understanding, and he thought also the reason was a great reason to be here. So here I am. To tell you the truth, one of my prayers that came true today, it is actually this. I wanted so badly to talk about positiveness, but I always imagined to myself at Barnes and Noble. That would be probably a better setting for me, right? Maybe a signing of a book and talking to crowds over there. I didn't know it is going to be Harvard, and I didn't know it would be today. So I'm a firm believer of ask and you shall receive. So I asked and I received. I just didn't know the how and I didn't know the when. And here I am today. It's a little bit overwhelming how everything came rolling really, really fast. But I will embrace it, and I know there is a reason to be here right now. I didn't want to postpone it for the next year, especially when my husband said, go, do it. So here I am. Challenging the unseen, it is a book that took me 7 years to complete. I have done an extensive research. I have read a lot of books in positivity, and I know whoever is going to get my book will probably end up finishing it in a couple of hours, 2, 3 hours maximum. But it did take me 7 years of hard work, of a lot of research. I also have interviews of other people. And I also want you to know that I did it during my grief because I have lost one of my daughters in a car accident. And so it did take a lot for me to complete it, but I'm proud of it. And like I said, there is an interest from the movie industry, and I hope it will happen soon. What I would like to talk, um,
Yes. He fixed it. What?
okay, please, does it work?
No.
Um, what do we do now? Tip him. ¿Ya canceló? Oh, tipo, I think, so. And that's, I want to talk about strength because all of us, we have a lot of problems in our lives. We, you, have been tested, but realize that part of our strength is a combination of our efforts working with a higher power through us. Um, what can I say? Being strong, sure, we can take care of ourselves, we can eat properly, we can take care of our bodies, but I really believe that there is more, that there is um, another factor, there is a higher power that is working through us to give us strength. I'm not a particularly extremely religious person, but I became a spiritual person. I know there is something there. I don't know exactly how it all works, but I know there is something there. And I believe in spirituality, which is actually um, talking about the experiences that each and every one of us has. Religion is a dogma, religion is experiences of other people. Spirituality, it is about our experiences, what we experience. And so I'm here today to share some of my experiences. Okay, I'm not using this right. I'm sorry. But thinking of them, yes, yes, so like this, okay. About the spiritual journey, I would like to tell you how many times did it happen in your life that you met a stranger and that stranger told you one word and had a huge significance and has changed your thinking or your life? Did that ever happen to you? I don't know. But it did happen to me when I was really, really upset and in pain. For example, a lady looked at me, she asked me why I was so upset and what I told her. She came, she came to me and she said, remember, she said, in the morning when you wake up, say this to yourself. And she writes something down on a piece of paper and she gives it to me. And when I saw that, I got shocked. I got so shocked that I started crying. And I don't know how to tell you this, but it was very, very powerful to me. That was as if it was a sign from from the other side, as if a grandmother would have given me this advice and not a stranger. It was very, very powerful to me. And discussing it with other people, I can see that a lot of others, they have the same experiences with me. They said, oh yeah, a stranger told me something, and then I changed my mind completely about certain things. I also had an epiphany. I had a shocking realization that other spiritual teachers can be very gifted as well. Growing up in Greece, I thought that only a Greek priest or a Greek monk can do a miracle, and when they can bless you, only they can give you the holy light and these very special blessings. And perhaps other people from other faiths, other spiritual teachers don't have this capacity, this strength, this gift. Well, my daughter Valerie once, she invited me into one of her yoga classes. It was the last lesson at her university class. And they told her that a spiritual teacher, a Hindu teacher, would come. And that this teacher would bless everybody. They would have like a meditation going on a little bit. And then after the spiritual teacher's blessing, everybody should write about that experience. Not only that, of course we went, we sat down, we did our nice meditation. I did all my Greek prayers because at the time I didn't know what else to do. And then somebody's giving us those little pieces of papers, okay? And I started to get tired because I was there like quite a long time. And I saw that this piece of paper read like this. It said, after you go in front of the spiritual teacher and you get the blessing, you need to lay down on your mat. Let the holy light, the blessing to come through you. And she will open up the center of compassion to you. And then after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, you can get up and you can leave. And I said, oh, 15 or 20 more minutes? We've been here for 3 hours. What is that all about? And why somebody bothered to write it into pieces of papers and give it to everybody? I said, this is insane. And I was a skeptical. Okay, I was a skeptical. I was looking at my daughter, I'm like, we need to leave. We've been here so many hours. We have to go. So how about, and I was not believing that this is going to actually happen, that this lady could bless us in this way. I could not believe that. So being the Thomas who doesn't want to believe, I said to my daughter, I said, look, we're going to go really quick over there. We're going to get the blessing. We're going to go back to the mat. We're going to pretend that we're going to lay down to have the blessing go through us, this and that. And then we can, just like 1 second, not 15 minutes, and then we can leave. So what happened is we did get the blessing. And it went back to the mat. I sat down, and all of a sudden, I felt a choking sensation. I fell down on the floor on the mat, and I felt like an electricity just pass through my body. So that was it. That was the blessing. That was, I would call the holy light. People have different names, the light of the universe. I call it the holy light. So I had an incredible experience. I closed my eyes, I had visions. I felt compassion for people in India, little kids crying. She did this to me. I did not see it coming. It was a beautiful revelation. I never thought that anybody other than a Greek Orthodox priest could do that. So I took this experience, and of course, one of the many that I wrote in my book. Um, I also had the best blessings ever to experience. I see here Archangel Michael's miracles in my life. I'm not gonna get into those too much because then nobody's gonna wanna buy the book, right? So I experienced miracles because I did a prayer on positive visualization and came through with all the details, and that shook me to my core. So here it is. My conclusion is that everyone's spirituality is leading to the same source and God. I believe that everybody has this capacity. Not only we're not special. I think everybody has this capacity. Oops. I would like to talk a little bit about loss. It is part of life, and only when we start to let go and allow a lot of time to heal us, then we can cope. Life is unfair. We're all losing loved ones, and we need to experience it so we can heal and grow. We need to drop the victim attitude in order to heal and find something that it is positive. I believe that things will change and we are in a journey. And all that came from the loss of my daughter 6 years ago. Um, it was really hard on me to go through this, but somehow I found the strength because we all haven't. We all haven't. We all have changes, we all have challenges in our lives, and sometimes unwanted circumstances are coming into our lives. But I believe that those all their transformation is just pure transformation. Releasing old ideas, embracing something new without being afraid. Our action and bad experiences are part of our evolution. These are my beliefs. Sometimes the greatest disappointment, I said, can awaken us to our need to a higher frequency. We can adapt and we can accept. We can accept who we are and where we are at that moment, leading in a new possibilities, all those things, they're leading us to more things to experience. We can expect the unexpected, so sometimes nothing can come to us as a shock. We can accept the detours in our lives, which is the acceptance in itself is a sign of being positive about our lives. A lot of times people are asking me, well, what does it mean to be positive? Does it mean that we need to be happy all the time? It's not about being happy all the time. It is about accepting your situation when you have difficult times, okay? When you accept what it is, that makes you positive. You say, yes, it is indeed a very difficult situation. How am I going to handle this? And at that moment, you're a positive person. The minute you accept what it is. We talk a lot of times about abundance in our lives. This is very popular because people they say, I want this, I want that. Um, yes, we do have self worth, but when we are in pain, a lot of times we cannot think this way because we're in pain. I remember one time going and seeing a doctor. I was very upset. I went to get some checks. I thought I was getting a heart attack or something. I wanted him to examine me. And he made me laugh. He told me at the beginning, you should feel your self-worth. I said, I do, and I was crying. I said, I do, but right now I'm in a lot of pain and I'm in a lot of stress. And he told me, well, you don't have anything. You're just panicking really bad. And you need to get over it. You need to start thinking of self self-worth. I said, okay, okay. And then I was asking him, how can I prevent something bad, health-wise from happening? Because although I'm a doctor, he was the specialist in those episodes, right? So I'm like, well, what should I do? And he said to me, well, this is how it goes. You walk, you talk, and then you don't. And he started laughing. I appreciated a little bit the joke there, but I remember the cards that I got. Um, you should know always your true value, because if you know your true value, then this is what leads to the greatest riches. And a lot of times when we're afraid of, I'm not having this and I'm not having that, and being negative, well, this is a serious block. This is a serious block. This is blocking us from actually going ahead with our lives. And you shouldn't be relying on perfect conditions to make yourself a happy person. You should live the now. I was telling my students that if they live the moment, the now, and they can do the best that they can do, that's all they need to do. They shouldn't be so much eager of, oh, what is going to happen? What is going to happen tomorrow? What? Maybe, I don't know, maybe we're going to fail the test tomorrow. They were thinking of the tomorrow. I said, think of the now. I said, how about we're going to all study right now? We're going to go through what you need to know for tomorrow. How about that? And I said, is that going to help? So a lot of times we did, let's say, a recapitulation. We sat down, we talked, and we studied together. And we used the now wisely. And when you use the now wisely, then you're not afraid of tomorrow. After I finished my class, I said, well, are you afraid of tomorrow now? They said, oh, no. I said, you see? So you use the now wisely. And if some people are working today, they do a very good job, then tomorrow they are going to get paid, right? So if you use the now, it is big. All we have is now. We don't know the tomorrow. So the now is very, very important. Also, being yourself. That reminds me of having a class here on the Boston Language Institute one time. I applied to teach Greek at that time. And I saw that they didn't ask me to go right away to teach. They asked me after the semester started. And I was not expecting a phone call back. I said, oh, they picked another instructor. But they called me. They said, can you come and teach Greek? I said, sure. But it was strange. They called me late. I went there. I said, why did you call me late? I said, what happened to the other teacher? They said, oh, the students threw the teacher out and the book. I said, what? What? And you called me to do. Oh my God. Oh, I was shocked. I'm like, now, how am I supposed to behave? If they throw the other teacher out with the book, what am I supposed to do? Do I have to be like this? Should I pretend to be like that? I'm gonna go and be like this, like that. I didn't know. For a moment there, 1,000, thoughts passed my mind. How should I be? How can I be better? How should I behave? Well, I'll tell you how. All of a sudden, I'm like, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. Because I knew I was always very enthusiastic. I cared about education. I loved going over my lessons. I wanted my students to learn everything in the classroom before they left the classroom. This is how I grew up. This is how I knew how to teach the class. I knew that not all the teachers are the same. I knew that not all the methodology is the same, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be me. What is the worst that can happen? Hopefully they're gonna like me. So I decided I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be me. So I went into the classroom and I started teaching the only way I knew how, right? I was asking the kids to repeat what I was saying. I made it fun, this and that. Well, let me tell you, one of them wanted me to get to know her father, who was single at the time. She was considering me for a stepmom. That was a huge compliment. Another girl was an Italian girl that was doing archaeology. She invited me into her house. Another one was a stewardess. She's like, oh, move in with me. I don't know what. They were all looking for me to take care of me. And they told the director, we love her. We want her to stay here. But unfortunately, after my semester, in that semester, I couldn't teach anymore because I was moving in Arizona. And everybody was in tears. Oh no, don't leave. So, long story short, I didn't see that coming. But hey, you can be yourself. Trust yourself. Okay, this is the point. Trust yourself. Be creative, be alive, participate in life, make mistakes, learn from them, experience life, be open to everything. And this is how you're becoming wise. A lot of times we're like, I want this to be happy, I want that to be happy. A lot of times, this is what I think. You should be happy inside you. Other things won't make you happy. You need to have it inside you. Try to find the answers within, is what I'm trying to say. They say that 5 minutes of anger and dark thoughts, they can give you 3 hours of your body's health, defense, immune system to go down. This is what happens to you. That our bodies and our minds are susceptible to this to disease, and I'm not so sure if you knew any of this. I thought that Mahatma Gandhi's wise words might be very good for today, since Mahatma Gandhi was all about politics, that your beliefs become your thoughts, and your thoughts words, and the words actions, the actions habits, and the habits values, and the values your destiny. I want to talk to you about energy. Everything you see around you, it is energy. The cosmos, the universe, the galaxy, our earth, all of us, our systems, our cells, our molecules, everything is energy. I was very, very surprised, very happily surprised to read the book of a wonderful biologist, Dr. Lipton. And Dr. Lipton is working on a new branch of medicine called epigenetics. This is really, really interesting. And what he has done is he has been looking into the stem cells, and he was studying the stem cells. And what he found out is that a cell in our bodies is nothing more, look at this, but a programmable chip, like a computer chip, whose behavior and genetic activity are primarily controlled by environmental signals and not the genes. Because you're going to hear a lot of times people saying, oh, if my mom had cancer, that means these are the genes and I'm going to get cancer. But this is not true. This is not true from the point of view that we have, it is up to us. It is up to us to control our destiny, because we can put ourselves in a better environment, we can feed ourselves better, and guess what? You might not get it. So this is what epigenetics is all about. And people, they say, oh, this is all brand new. I would say it's not brand new. It is reinventing it, the epigenetics. I believe that our ancestors, they knew all about all these things. But it is reinventing all these things. A lot of people, they want to know how I did my positive visualization. And I'm going to tell you, it's nothing, it is a prayer and daydreaming. This is what the visualization is. It is when you really, really want something, you just close your eyes and you say, I want to do this. This is my goal. If it is a job, then you visualize your job. But you cannot just say, I want this, and immediately to say, but. Because if you say, I want this, but, then you really don't want it, and that's not the way to ask for it. So the way to ask for it, this is the magic recipe for everybody who wants to see their wishes coming true. It needs to be accompanied by an intense feeling and a belief that it has been already materialized. So you really, really need to believe it, and it needs to come from the heart, because they found out that the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. This is what they found out. The heart can emit electromagnetic activity and energy of over 15 feet. This is what they found out. And there are actually doctors right now and physicists that they're working on it at the HeartMath Institute in California. When I did my special prayer and my positive visualization, and I got everything I ever wanted with all the details materialized, at that time, I didn't know that I was doing it. I didn't know that I was putting all these feelings. I didn't know I was putting all this belief. I didn't know how it was working. But when the time came for me to write my book, and I did my research, I found out that yes, indeed, this is how it happens, and other people have written about it, and I'm not the only one. I thought, oh my gosh, who wrote about these things? Well, there are people that they actually did that. A second subtitle in my book, it is Discover the Power Within. And a lot of people, they asked me, what does that mean? Because in my book I said, oh, I got all, even my wildest dreams manifest. And they said, what are your wildest dreams? What do you mean by wild? I said, well, wild is not wild. Wild is, I want a house, I want a partner, I want a job. Wild from the point of view, I asked for too many details. But is that wild? I think it is when you're asking for too many things like that. I think it is. It's kind of, I don't know how many of you you're asking things like that. Personally, I've got a couple of friends that they do, but it doesn't happen that often. Now, you're going to tell me if it is that easy, why people don't do it. I'll tell you why they don't do it. They do not ask why, because they are more concerned about when it is going to happen and how it is going to happen. Isn't it true? That's why you're not asking, right? Otherwise, you would have asked right now, immediately. But no, you're not doing it. So, sure, we saw in the Bible, ask and you shall receive, but I'm going to make another point too. I have read, like I told you, a lot of books on this issue. It's not only on the Bible, ask and you shall receive, it is before the Bible. It is before the Bible. They're written in the Greek ancient ancestors of ours. They're in their writings, okay? Also, Buddha before Christ. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. They knew all those principles, they knew all that before, a lot before. That's why, sure, it is nice, to have a religion, but this goes long time before that. The world is a reflection of your thoughts, and you can create your own reality. Um, we all have dreams. We all have, certain desires, and this is how we are made. All we need to do is define those dreams, visualize them. And this is what I like. Create them in a personal or in the global level. Now, in my book, it is all about in a personal level, and I saw that a lot of people, other authors that they write books about being positive on the global level, and we're going to talk a little bit about it afterwards. And I'm amazed with all the things that they're doing. So what you should do is move them from your head into your physical manifestation. Hold the vision, and this is how everything manifests. You need to focus with gratitude also and your energy, because your positive attitude draws your dreams into your physical reality. And you're going to find out that when you are in distress, but you speak the truth, people around you, they respond positively. And you do obtain, after all, their support, and you do make your dreams manifest. I believe that you should always keep your faith and just do your best, because everything is possible. It is a wonderful feeling of empowerment once you have discovered this power within. I believe that we are co-creators of our own reality. And like I said, right now, a lot of doctors and physicists, they're working in California in the Institute of Heart Math, because they find out the power that the human body has. A lot of times they discuss 9/11, and when that catastrophic event happened, how everybody's sadness, what that did to the satellites, and how they were measuring those things. Interesting, huh? So now my book, we will do a parallelism with other books on the same subject. Like I said before, my book is about positive visualization and manifestation on the matters of the heart, abundance, and some healing. Like I said before, positive meaning accepting our reality, and not necessarily always the happy thoughts. Just when you accept your reality, even if it is a harsh one, that makes you a positive person. And I also have techniques described, and it is of course viewed from the spiritual point of view, where other books from other authors on positivity, on the same subject of positive visualization and manifestation, they're viewed again on issues such as peace. But sure, you can ask peace for you, right? For you, for your home, but you can also ask peace for your town, right? For the world, for low criminality in a town. For example, in a town of 1 million people, these are measurements that those authors made. In a town of 1 million people, 100 people, they found out if they pray for peace, that they can change the criminality in the town, which is very interesting. And spontaneous healings, of course, and marrying spirituality and science together with medical experiments and military experiments. So what is happening now, a lot of authors are trying to create awareness in all those wonderful issues, health and healing. They go to conferences, and their efforts are not only on a local, but also on a global level. They asked me, how's my life in Arizona? Would invite you to come and visit, because there's a powerful energy field and a place of divine inspiration where I'm very happy living there. And I wrote this book because of my experiences, of course. After all the tragedies I went through, I kept my faith, and I was always positive. And the message is one of unity, because I would like for everybody to feel united, even though they have different backgrounds, spiritual backgrounds. And it is a message of hope and positivity. Remember that you're co-creators of your own reality, and if you don't like your life and the things how they are, you can always change them by change the way you're thinking. If you want to purchase my book, it's available on Amazon as an in an electronic form, but also you can find it if you want it print on demand in CreateSpace, and I've got my website and my email. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank for everybody who invited me here. I would like to say a couple of things about the politics, but I think we're out of time, and other people, they said that. They only want to end with what Aristotle said. We are what we do. So if we do good things, I guess we're fantabulous.
Unfortunately, I'm informed that we don't have time, so we'll proceed with the next speaker. Greg Carnos is an award-winning strategy consultant to over 300 emerging technology professional services, manufacturing, healthcare, and international trade enterprise. Today, he's going to speak to us about the entrepreneurial landscape in Greece and open this year.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rodney. It's a pleasure to be here. I see that the time is now 4:10. We're going, Dr. Rodney, what time should we go until? 45? Okay. Yes, again, my name is Craig Panis.
10 minutes.
I'm sorry? 10 minutes?
10 minutes, and then we'll have 5 minutes. Sorry?
15.
15.
It's fine, it's fine.
We're good?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
because genetically I'm a Laconian, which means I don't like to talk, so I'm probably good with that. Let's next here. Okay. Sorry to go a little tech on you with the plain Jane PowerPoint today, but we're here to discuss a very serious topic, and I'd rather not have distractions of multimedia, blissy presentation. I'd like to have everybody focused. It's a tough problem, and I think everybody in this room who has the will to can affect a change and have an impact. And we're going to show you some ways, some of my suggestions. But at the end, I want to hold it out for you, because really the value here is for us, everybody in this room, to hear each other's suggestions, because all the good ideas that are going to help this country, help the country of Greece, aren't going to come from one place. It's going to be the ideas growing in each of our brains, the exchange of ideas that really could help the country come through with some strong ideas, some strong difference. As a business consultant, the reason I'm excited to be here is I work each year with about 170 emerging businesses here in the United States. And it's a very exciting opportunity. It's a very dynamic field of work. And I can only imagine what is going on in the minds of the Greek entrepreneur. I'm also very excited to see the student interest in the preservation of Greek culture and helping to move Greece forward, because I'm really concerned, and I think most of the people in this room are, is that eventually, if the way things keep going the way they're going, there may not be much Greece left in Greece. I mean, we're seeing immigrants flowing in, we're seeing the brain drain of people leaving, we're seeing people moving out of the country and they're being assimilated by other cultures. So how much Greece is there going to be left in 20, 30, 50 years? So I think a strong Greece, if we can help in each in our own way, could have a large impact on the history of the culture, or the future of the culture. So many of the businesses I work with are transnational, multinational businesses, but they don't quite face the same set of challenges that I think we're looking at in Greece. So I'd like to structure today's talk this way. I'd like to lay out the entrepreneurial landscape as I've been able to determine it. This is not a lecture on advanced economics with charts and graphs and marginalists and utility. That's in another room. The basis of this talk today is, from my experience, eyeball to eyeball with business owners here and in Greece, and feeling your pain, understanding what the problem is, and presenting it to you. So maybe this group can come up with some ideas, and I want to hear ideas at the end. The younger the brain, the more ideas I want to hear, because we're not just looking at outside the box solutions needed by Greece. These solutions need to be outside the room the box is in. Okay, it's a desperate situation. Businesses are hurting. There's a social upheaval going on. People are postponing marriage. They're moving back home. They're postponing or eliminating having kids. This is a very serious problem, and a lot of it, stems from economic factors. So, the one ground will be, as you see, we want to solicit your suggestions at the end. And let's make that ground rule of our session today based on a Chinese proverb, sorry, not Greece. And that is, don't let those who say it can't be done get in the way of the people already doing it, okay? So there are no bad ideas, there are no bad suggestions, they're just ones that haven't been implemented yet, correct? All right? So, moving on, the entrepreneurial landscape. My pursuit of the entrepreneurial landscape in Greece began about 18 months ago when my center was hosting a delegation of 23 delegates from around the world, each of them from different countries, representing some aspect of getting entrepreneurship started in their respective countries. Asia, South America, Central America, Africa. I even remember having a fellow from Uzbekistan come up to me at the end of the talk and say, are there loans for business owners, people starting businesses in the United States? And I said, well, the simple answer is yes. It depends on several factors. And he said, well, what's the interest rate on those loans? And I said, oh, well, probably prime plus 4 or 5. We're looking at 6 to 9% money. And his jaw dropped and he said, in Uzbekistan, interest rates for starting a business, if you can get one, they're hard to come by, but if you can get one, they start at 22%. So we have to be very careful when we compare the entrepreneurial landscape in the United States to other countries, because there's a different set of challenges, different cultures involved. The fellow from Romania said, forget Romania, it's a dead country. It's a dead economy. There's no hope it's ever going to come back in our lifetime. So I think we're all want to be involved in avoiding that fate for Greece, a country that we love. So let's open the dossier on the entrepreneurial landscape. And Dr. Galetsis was the representative at that conference from the country of Greece. So we stayed in contact. And I contacted him recently and said, asked him 2 questions. I asked him, the 2 questions. What are the greatest obstacles facing entrepreneurs in getting a business started in Greece? And once the businesses are started, what are the main challenges? Now, Dr. G is an economics professor, but he also has a responsibility at his university for working with small businesses and helping them get launched and become successful. So he's very familiar with the problems, he's very familiar with the issues. So I believe he turned out he was the right person to ask these questions. Okay, what are the greatest obstacles facing entrepreneurs who are starting businesses in Greece? Let's hear some ideas. What was the number 1 answer to this question?
Bureaucracy.
Number 3, very good, I thought about that. What are some other ideas? Anybody else have any suggestions? Yes.
Change laws. Change laws.
That came up in the second one, once the business is started, but just getting the business started, yes.
I think also it's a thing that you can think a lot of business that you can start, but when you're actually trying to do it, you're not really sure what you're doing, and you have a lot of things to do, and weak people are not really consistent.
Take a bow. That's
steps.
number 1. Okay, here are the 3 largest challenges to entrepreneurs starting businesses in Greece. 1 was lack of entrepreneurial spirit. Now, consulting with businesses, entrepreneurs in the United States, this is kind of a foreign concept to me. So at the end of this talk, I hope we have some time where you can share with me, how do you instill an entrepreneurial spirit in a culture where it's the biggest obstacle to facing businesses? Here in the United States, entrepreneurs come to me and they say, look, I identified these set of challenges, help me get through these, and let's get the party started, let's go. I have to hold them back and say, well, wait a minute, let's do some planning here, let's take 1 step at a time. But they understand, as a young business, they can pivot, while the big corporations throw it out to, well, do we have the budget, let's form a committee, let's try, it takes a long time to make a decision. A young business can say, all right, let's put a team together down on the Levitt furniture account. We'll build a pilot there, and once it's successful, it's tested out properly, we'll roll it out to our customers, and they're already up and gone. And they know that if their customer has a problem with something they do, they're not calling a call center halfway around the world with somebody who halfway speaks English. They're talking to the president of the company. Okay, so they understand the benefits of being an entrepreneur, a young business, a young agile business that can keep up with the technology and grow and be a force. You understand the importance of being disruptive. Okay, you don't just want to add, to the status quo 2%. You want to disrupt what's going on now and show the world a new way to do it. So this is kind of new territory for me. This lack of entrepreneurial spirit. In fact, 2 years ago, I was invited by a minister at a black church down in Maryland to come and give a talk on entrepreneurship. I held the phone down and said, "This is a church, right?" He said, "Yeah." So I go there, and only one a day, and there's 150 people there. I'm the only white person there in the room, and the audience was well dressed, and they were laser focused. This was the best audience you could imagine, interested in the subject of owning a business. And so they asked great questions. At the end, I went to the minister and said, "Yeah, come on, what's going on here?" And the minister said, "All right, I set you up. This is a church, but I practically require each of my families that are members to have a family business. Look, we're African American, we get fired a lot. The only way you know what your last day of work is if you're the boss, okay? And these people aren't starting next to Microsoft. These are, supplemental incomes to their family. It's just maybe a fallback or a way to develop your retirement funding. Our businesses give business advice to each other. They consult with each other. They buy and sell from each other. They hire each other's kids for summer jobs. He's got a little business ecosystem going on in a church. Okay, so maybe one of the things we can do to help out Greece is give this guy, this mentor, a ticket to Athens. Okay, so let's take a look and see why he felt the entrepreneurial spirit was lacking. People can have jobs, lots of them in the public sector. Starting jobs is not one of their top priorities. Inertia exists, and few other people take the step. And like you said, the whole society is not actively promoting this yet. So I'm anxious to hear, if we have time, and I hope we do at the end, of some ideas on how to stimulate, how we can stimulate this, because in the United States, as we know, more than half of the goods and services produced in the United States are produced by small, privately held businesses. More than half of the employment in the United States more the people employed in the United States are by small and privately held businesses. This is the engine that drives our economy, and it certainly would be a good model for us to instill in Greece. Then there's a situation in universities, and it's the same situation here. Okay, University of Science comes up with a cure for cancer. I mean, in Maryland, the amount of technology on the shelves of the university is staggering. Okay, these are cures for cancer, cures for drug addiction. These are operating room theater tools that were developed by operating theater teams, and they are sitting at TRL 6, which means they're at technology ready to level 6, and 9 means ready to go to market. So they need a little bit of bump to get past the goal line and be ready to have a marketable product. But what's the issue? The issue is it was developed by a research scientist, and he doesn't want to stop what he's doing and start a business. I mean, the universities are there. They have management classes for these scientists. They've got intellectual property attorneys who will file their patents and pay the $20,000 to get a patent. They have VCs who will fund the whole venture. But in the end of the day, the researcher just doesn't want to own a business. He wants to get his next grant and work on his even better opportunity than the one he just finished working on. So there's a lot of inertia around the universities. So it's a big problem here. So maybe we need to take a look at Greece and see if necessity turns out to be the mother of invention there. Lack of finance shouldn't shock anybody here too much. The government's bankrupt. The banks have balance sheets upside down. They're not really lending money in great amounts either. According to Dr. Velez, it's hard to get initial funds. Few VCs exist, and there's not a seeding mechanism. Seeding would be like the role here of an angel investor. A VC in the United States comes in at $3 to $5 million. An angel will come in at 50 to 150. If you get a group of them together, maybe up to $300,000 to $400,000 to seed the initial funding. Otherwise, you have to turn to the four F's to raise your financing for your business. That's founder, friends, family, and fools. Okay, of which I've been one of each. So And here's the bureaucracy. What is the issue with bureaucracy? Okay, a business called International Entrepreneurship identified that while U.S. businesses have to satisfy 5 procedures and pay out $200 to start a business, in Greece, this was 2011, they had to file 16 procedures and pay about $8,000. Okay, in a country where the average income per capita is $16,000, that's a big chunk. It's almost an insurmountable obstacle. But my wife and I were in Greece a month and a half ago. We went to this really charming retail store, all made in Greece products, really unique ideas, great gift ideas, great home furnishing ideas. And we said, how's business? And she said, well, it's great. We just opened, but it took us 2 years to get the store, to wait through all the bureaucracy to get the store open. Okay, so this is a horrible, horrible set of challenges. And we're going to try to put together, I'm going to throw out some suggestions on how to operate not outside the law, but despite these obstacles. While we were in Greece, I was approached by 2 entrepreneurs or 2 researchers who invented new lines of skincare products, all natural. Are you kidding me? There's a great market for that in the US, but they're sitting there with these great ideas and no way to get them to market. The one was a pharmacist. He developed these products that even actually have medicinal value too, but they just make the skin look great. They make the woman look great, and they could stand on that on its own, and people soon discover that they also cure things too. But he's sitting there with kind of hopeless. He didn't trust. He didn't trust the system. Didn't trust himself. He had no culture of, oh well, Jane down the street ran a successful startup. I can do the same thing. The other skin cream developer worked for a company that produces skin creams, and these are classic entrepreneur business start scenarios. Work for somebody else, see a better way to do it. I came up with a superior product that even my major corporation employer did. Let me find a way to get it out there. In the U.S., these people would be off and running, but in Greece, these 2 guys were scared, and I gave them my business card, and they're still trying to fight through their own issues. But there are successful businesses in Greece. There's no doubt. I think we know about them. We interviewed a fellow who makes pots and pans, and he sells them around the world. And unfortunately, he hires Pakistanis in his factory because they turn out to be the most reliable people who show up every day and don't want to get their hands dirty. But so there are some green shoots of success. Okay, so then we moved on to the next question of once a business is up and running, what are the biggest challenges? Okay, so even if you're a successful entrepreneur, you actually have to get the doors open and become a small emerging business, even after the startup. So Dr. Volitis listed 8 different obstacles to running a business once you're open. Lack of finance, delays in payment from the state, okay? Fewer government contracts, particularly construction. Heavy employer burden for taxes and employee insurance. We're seeing a theme here that the government is having a significant influence in the role and on the prosperity and prospects for businesses, even once they're up and running. Prepayment due to government default risk, lower consumer demand, frequent changes in taxation, and competition from lower cost economic or EU countries. Sorry. So lack of finance, no big shock there. If anybody's really surprised, we can talk after this session, but should not be. Okay, it seems like there's a kind of like a waterfall effect here, kind of like a liquidity trap where the state doesn't have money to pay the producers, and then they can't pay their suppliers, and they can't pay their suppliers all the way down the supply chain. So that can be like a liquidity trap. Fewer government contracts, particularly construction. Yes, we saw that. Higher burdens for taxes and employee insurance. For those of you who don't know, it's common practice in Greece to hire people for 6 months and then let them go. Why? Because for the first 6 months, you don't have to contribute to their retirement or their health insurance or anything like that. And it's kind of assumed in some industries that you're going to be working for 6 months and then you're out the door. Well, so my wife and I went to a pastry shop in Thessaloniki, the 2nd largest city in Greece. And it was a high-end, it was the best one in the city, but all the employees there seemed like they were in a bad mood at work at best, and even like almost hostile. And so, but this was like they had the greatest, most beautiful stuff. So a couple of days later, we were talking to my wife's cousin about the situation. He said, "Oh yeah, well, those people haven't been paid in 4 months." And I said, "They still go to work?" And he said, "Well, yeah, they think that, well, maybe today will be the day, this week will be the day the paychecks come out, but in the meantime, they're in a bad mood." So I said, "Well, I would be too." So onward and upward. All right, now this is something wacky, and this is that people want to be paid fast by Greek companies because they're worried that the country's going to go belly up. Okay, so how do you fight through that? Now, lower consumer demand. Okay, prices relative to incomes are high in Greece. Okay, people in many cases have seen their incomes go down in half, and the prices remain sticky where they were. Well, people are finding workarounds to this. Housing, they're not paying their rent. Okay, we spoke to many landlords who stopped getting rent from their tenants. That's not an undesirable situation. We see people who bought housing as a bubble and they can't sell. This is something that's familiar to all of us. From our housing bubble, they're underwater, upside down in their homes. Food. I've seen, maybe some of you have noticed this too, a change in the Greek diet, eating more pasta. Patagonia are kind of like out of reach of the individual family. They're kind of like $26 a kilogram. There are a few people that can afford more than just sardines in terms of fish, which is a shame. Energy. I think we all heard about this summer or this winter about the smog problem in Athens. Why? Because people couldn't afford natural gas and fuel to heat their homes, so they started getting wood-burning stoves and burning wood to heat their homes. So that's a big problem. My wife and I were driving around in $7 a gallon gasoline on empty roads because people had their cars parked. They can't afford the gas to run the car. We've heard of people who can't afford to go visit their mother because it cost them $20 in gas to go see their mother for years. So energy, healthcare, let's not even go there. We've heard of 80-year-old women sitting there recovering in their hospital rooms, 95 degrees with a window open, while the staff is in their air-conditioned office. Not a blood pressure cuff on the ward or even in the hospital. The son had to bring it in from home. There's a whole set of problems there. Discretionary spending. I don't think we're going to. We'll have to ask the economists about this, but we haven't seen evidence of a deflationary spiral in Greece yet because there isn't much discretionary spending. People are living, on buying basically necessities. The smart ones save money when times are good, and they're kind of supplementing or living off of their current income with their savings. The unfortunate people who invested in housing are having problems now, having problems selling. And the people who did not save, well, let's just say we know some elderly women who don't like to go to church as much as they used to because of the gauntlet of beggars lined up outside the church, and some of them, unfortunately, are Greeks. Mention that. Okay. Competition from crowded European countries. We're seeing some, low-cost labor coming into the country that's affecting the ability to find menial jobs and other places of work. So that's the landscape. I've been able to piece it together from my conversation with Dr. Goliatzis. Now, I'd like to present some ideas I've had based on the information we just reviewed of possible things that we already do here in the United States to help businesses using commonly available technology. I'm talking about some solutions that anybody in this room who has an iPad, a phone, tablet, computer, read that as everybody in this room could do themselves with a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of work could do things to improve a lot of lives. The great thing about technology is you don't have to start at the beginning. You don't have to know how to program a DOS green screen thing in order to build a killer app and have it go viral and make millions on the internet. No. Technology, you can just jump in at today's point and get spun up and become effective and use that as a basis for a business. So we're taking a look at some best practices and a virtual transnational business model. How fast do I have to go? Do we have 15 minutes? We're good? Okay, we'll go fast. All right. Think of our our fellows who developed the skin cream line, okay? They see no way to get manufacturing done, international marketing. They've got the whole supply chain, the whole distribution chain is alien to them. What if there was a portal? Instead of, you know, a wealthy American throwing a check at a charity in Greece and hoping it goes for some good, a consortium of people getting together and developing a Greek business-to-business portal where Greek developers, researchers, designers, engineers could post their ideas, and the menu of ideas would be available to folks in the United States and around the world who could take a look at that technology and say, okay, skin cream developer, I know the VP at L'Oreal, I can get this in front of them, get some samples to us. I know the executive at Whole Foods, I can help bring this thing to life, get it to market. Okay, so what about a portal where they could where entrepreneurs could communicate their ideas, discoveries, products, technology, designs, capabilities, and services to businesses all around the world. They could then form strategic alliances, locate mentoring firms, get on board with joint ventures, and they could get assistance with things like product design, manufacturing, international marketing, distribution, retailers, offshoring, outsourcing. This would become available to them through an effectively run, designed, and managed portal. And this is certainly done all the time in the United States, and if somebody had the will and the wherewithal to do this, we certainly have a lot of young programming minds in the community here that could put a shoulder to this. Okay, now, what about an international trade portal for made in Greece? Okay, let's not mess around with the kiddie pool. Let's go straight to the gold standard. Let's go to the most effective one on the face of the earth, and that is the Korean International Trade Association. What does Korea have that Greece does not have? Why are they number one? Why are they the best international trade portal on the planet? Okay, I came to know Kita a couple years ago. I got a phone call from a Korean businessman who said, you work with a number of small businesses. We want to have a golf outing and a 3-day golf outing and at a country club and with free sumptuous meals, all on us. And so I took the guy with the Korean International Trade Association. I said, well, so I went to I said, sure, I'll get you some names. So I went to our intern from Korea and I said, Jessica, what's going on with this guy? What's their deal? And he said, well, in Korea, apparently, you have to be friends in order to do business. So this is a way to collapse the friend-making time into 3 days. So they want to bring a bunch of businesses and aggressively become business partners and develop those associations with U.S. businesses and firms. Okay, so that led me to their website, and this is the gold standard. This is where any country would want to be. If you're a U.S. business and you want something made in Korea, you head here and your problems are solved. You can find bids and find the lowest cost producer. You want to look for stuff made in Korea, there's a mall open 24 hours a day. Go ahead and shop on there. You want to make business connections, you want to have something designed and then built for you, or you want large quantities of things built, you want to find out what's going on in Korea business-wise. It's a one-stop world. It's a disgrace that more countries haven't figured this out. But this is a tool that, yeah, some capital and promotion. If you want to know the site exists or to be effective, why couldn't somebody assist Greek businesses in this fashion where they could then market their products to the world? Okay. Everybody know, if anybody here is in engineering or design, you probably know what a Thomas directory is. Thomas directory is if you run a business, a manufacturing business, and you need, 30,000 3/4 inch galvanized steel washers, you go in the Thomas directory and you find, all right, well, this guy's charging, 0.3 cents. This one's charging 0.2 cents. All right, I'll go with that one. So anything you need, to plan your assistant manufacturing and engineering is on now. It's called Thomas.com. Okay. So it's for buyers and engineers. These are where your suppliers are. Where's the one for Greeks? Where do Greek manufacturers promote their buying guide for their products? Okay, so maybe some of them are on Thomas.net. Maybe they need to be. Maybe some industrious entrepreneur needs to think of a way to bring the same technology to Greece. This is a different one. It's kind of the same product. This is a manufacturing industry. They bring news, but they also have many leads, and they also identify and contact U.S. manufacturers and decision makers So it's a plural that for business. Okay, there's no reason this can't be written in Greek, you know. And then there's the 800-pound gorilla Alibaba. Okay, if you design something you needed built, used to be just in China, you would go and contact the manufacturer in Alibaba and get quotes. Now, this down here, this is a scrolling thing. When I captured the screen, it just happened to land on selected products from Turkey. Okay, Alibaba is not just about Chinese manufacturers anymore. Okay, why can't that say Greece? Right? So why can't there be a Alibaba site for Greece that gets promoted so people know where it is, and either Greek Americans or just anybody around the world can access the site. Okay, we talked about the difficulty in raising financing. Okay, now something has recently come on the stage called crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is not just Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Last count, there were over 650 crowd sites available to U.S. businesses. Okay, these are ways to raise capital. The evangelists for crowdfunding state that it's going to replace Wall Street within our lifetime. Okay, it's not a toy like social media. It's a reality. It's here to stay, and we're raising some serious capital using crowdfunding. A website called UnderTheRadar.com gave us some quality information. There's basically 4 types of crowdfunding campaigns. You can either sell a piece of your company. You can either, if you say you make shoes and you need to raise some capital to develop a killer new shoe design, but you've got some lower end ones, you can say, all right, for contributions, $30,000 you donate to our fund to fund our new venture, we'll send shoes to 50 kids in Africa. Okay, so that's kind of a donation-based crowdfunding campaign. Lending-based means you are, in exchange for just like a loan, you make a donation now for time back in the future. And reward-based crowdfunding is how it all started. With the rock band, hey, give us $20, we'll send you a T-shirt. $100, we'll send you tickets to your concert at the next time you're in town. Send us $1,000, we'll fly you to the next show. Send us $10,000, you have dinner with the band. So all different levels of premiums and rewards. So this is done all over the internet. On the internet, there's no reason for not to have a Greek crowdfunding website. There is one called Dojo, and it seems like it's really a cause-related thing, a cause-related site. It's kind of like a lightweight version, but this would be a serious way and a real way to assist Greek businesses to raise capital, okay, in a credit crunch situation. Conclude.
There are three crowdfunding.
Okay, good to you.
Centers, if you're not.
Okay, well, that's good to you. All right, just to wrap up, other ideas, business incubators, they do a ton of good work here. They're a good way to rally around. Business incubators can be virtual or in country. Small business development center model is one we have to talk about this. QR codes, we have a retail store, you have 2 QR codes, one outside the front door, one next to the cash register, and I can tell you why. This is an in-store traffic pattern model to help a retailer or business. 75% of people in the United States turn to the right when they walk into a store. There are retailer assistants that are available. Pinterest, if anybody in this room can't think of a way where Pinterest can give me 2 more minutes, all right? Can't assist a Greek business using Pinterest. I want to hear you. I want to see you after the meeting. The way this goes is you go where my wife and I found the cute gifts, and you go to the section on Greece. You look at the label. Made by Maria Pappas. Okay, we found these little things that were like sachets, but they were also pin cushions, and they had pictures of F-zones and Amalias on them. Really cute. They're retail for €5. My wife thinks they would be a great business idea. Okay, so you look at the tag made by Maria Pappas. So you go visit Maria Pappas the next day and you say, Maria, what's your wholesale price? She says, $250. And we say, well, what's your wholesale price for 10,000 of these? And when Maria gets up off the floor, she'll say, $2. All right, I want 200 of these a week for the next year. Okay, Maria, that's 10,000. So she gets to work, starts making them, she retails them, she sells them wholesale to us for $2. Meanwhile, we go back home, we get our teenage kids to go and put it up on Pinterest, put these things on Pinterest, and we have 100 people interested in them, of our friends on Pinterest, and each have 100, so pretty soon 10,000 people on Pinterest have seen these cute ideas, and they want to know where to get them. Our teenage daughter set up a web portal where she can, we can take on e-commerce. We go and present these to business retailers. Yeah, we'll take 50 of them, we'll take 100 of them. So what have you done? You've made Maria's year. She's now going to net $10,000 after her expenses. So she's in probably the upper 40% of income earners in Greece. You employ your kid for the summer job. You've made $20,000. She's made $20,000 for a summer job. So the rising tide is all boats. We've got more. All these are with the stars next to them are things that people in this room can start tomorrow. If you have the motivation and a little bit of ambition, you could help with today. All right, well, we're out of time. Thanks, you've been great. And if anybody has any suggestions to share with each other on possible actions we can take or possible ways to help Greek businesses, this will be a good time to do it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panos. Really to the point comments. We're going to have a strict, and I repeat, very strict 5 minutes break to continue then with our screenings and our scheduled panel. Thank you very much.